Melissa and I have been dating for a little less than 2 years. It's been an amazing relationship, admittedly my only one, but I am really happy with her. We are both in PhD programs at the same university. It's where we met, but in different STEM fields. We've been considering moving in together, getting pets, and overall I'd say our relationship is pretty serious, and she has even mentioned getting married before. I can definitely see a future with her, but it's still a bit early for me, and right now I'd like to focus on my research and securing a future that can support both of us. She took that kind of harshly, but I just wasn't ready to commit to something like that yet. That was the only bump we've had until Natalia entered the picture again. Some background info: Natalia and I went to the same college for undergrad. She studies the same branch of biology that my current GF studies and is a year younger than I am. We were in the same science-related clubs and a professional fraternity together and quickly became very close friends, as Natalia and I had extremely similar personalities and interests. We spent weekends together, were each other's dates to all formal events, but we never dated even though we both liked each other and slept with each other. We were just too scared to ask the other what they wanted. It sounds silly and immature, but that's just what happened. We were essentially FWB for 2 years, but we always knew that we had very different plans for the immediate future. I was graduating before her and she was going to move to another country to work and do research before coming back to the States for her PhD. It was kind of an unspoken recognition that when I graduated, we were going to go our separate way, but we always joked that maybe we would run into each other again since we had the same dream school for grad school. We tried to remain in contact when I left, but it was just too hard on both of us. We missed each other but were busy with our own lives and eventually stopped talking. No hard feelings. It happens. We moved on. That was almost 5 years ago. Before Melissa, I used to wonder if Natalia and I could have made it together, but now that I have a girlfriend, that hasn't popped into my head at all. I am happy now, or at least I was. Last year Natalia was accepted into the PhD program at my university. It's the same dream school we talked about years ago. I didn't know this until a little over half a year ago. One day, my girlfriend came over because she was really upset. I will spare most of the details, but basically a professor in her department had told her that he had room for one more grad student to join him on one of his research trips to South America the following summer. My girlfriend really thought he was going to pick her because they had a pretty good relationship, but he had met with her and told her that there was a new grad student that already had experience with this particular species, worked with the South American university he was collaborating with, and spoke Spanish. She was denied the position, and I tried to explain to her that some people just have different expertise. Over the next month, she would tell me more and more about this new grad student and how everyone who met her practically fell in love with her or found her extremely interesting, that she was super cool, fawned over her, etc. etc. It made my girlfriend extremely sad because she has always had issues with insecurity and feeling like she has to try extra hard for people to think she's worth anything. I tried to tell my GF that she is great at what she does and to stop comparing herself to other people because it just makes her upset, but she said, "No underscore. You haven't seen her yet. She's extremely smart, she's been all over the world, she's a literal 10. Natalia is utter perfection." I kind of froze at that moment because somehow I immediately knew this was my friend. I kept trying to tell my GF all the ways I admired her, but I realized it wasn't helping, so all I would do was listen to her and be someone she could vent to. I admit I was curious, but I didn't want to complicate things for Melissa, so I didn't try to contact Natalia or find out if it was even her. A few weeks later, however, I ran into her at a cafe on campus. It was really great to see her again. We sat with each other for about an hour and a half, just catching up with one another. I told her about my research and she told me about hers. She had accomplished so much for herself in the few years since I had seen her last, and I was so happy for her. I told her I had a girlfriend who was in the same department as she was, and she asked if we could all hang out sometime since she was still new to the town. Natalia seemed really excited and not at all disappointed. We exchanged numbers and parted ways. It felt evident to me that we had moved on. Whatever romantic feelings we had for each other were purely platonic now. We were both doing very well and genuinely happy. That night I told my girlfriend that I ran into Natalia, and she was actually a really good friend of mine from college. I knew my girlfriend felt really insecure at work and in the lab, and I did not want her to feel threatened within our relationship. I suggested we all have lunch sometime so she can meet her because I actually thought they could get along. GF was kind of taken aback and immediately started asking me if I ever liked Natalia, if she was my ex, and if we dated. I said no, we never dated, we were only friends, but I did like her a lot. I reminded her that this was 4 years ago and that I have not thought about her at all since I started dating GF. GF left the house for the night because she said she was really stressed and didn't want to think about it right now. I felt like I had done something wrong, and decided I wouldn't mention Natalia again. Ever since that night, GF would ask me really strange questions like if I thought she was smart enough. Of course I think she's smart. The university we are at is one of the best in the nation. She then said, "Well, you and Natalia went to 20 Ivy League university for undergrad and I went to 20 State University, so she's clearly beat me both time." I was appalled and told her there is no competition. I am with you. It doesn't matter where you went to undergrad, look at where you are now. She just wouldn't stop talking about how much more experience Natalia has and how much better her resume probably looks. She would ask me this multiple times, and it really upsets me to see how much she works herself up over these things. What's worse is when she compares her looks to Natalia's. Lately Melissa will not stop complaining about how pale she is, how easily she sunburns, how short her hair is, how nothing fits her well. She says, "I wonder how Natalia stays so skinny, I wish I was mixed like Natalia. Natalia is so exotic looking." I always tell her how beautiful she looks, how attractive I find her. Melissa is beautiful. I love everything about her even though she doesn't. I would never say this to Melissa, it's even difficult to write, even though Melissa has said it to me, but Natalia is definitely more conventionally attractive woman in terms of arbitrary societal beauty standards, but that doesn't matter to me. I don't love my GF just because of her looks, but it's so difficult to convince someone that you find them attractive when they want to jump out of their own skin. I have caught Melissa stalking Natalia's Facebook profile, Instagram, lab page. It's ridiculous. I can't understand why she does it when it gets her so upset. Melissa isn't fat at all, but lately she has been rejecting me when I try to initiate sex because she feels fat or not sexy enough, and I think this is due to the aforementioned insecurities. I try to talk her through them, but it always ends with the same conclusion, and she says, "I'm sorry, I'm not goof enough." I only talk to Natalia in the cafe. We have lunch together maybe twice a week, but we never plan it. I have always ate lunch at the same time at the same place, and Natalia will come in every few days, and when she does we sit together for about an hour and talk. Occasionally she will text me before lunch asking if I'm there or planning on going there, and that's the only time we text or talk outside of the cafe. I feel like this is an appropriate amount of communication for two friends. I feel bad for never being able to hang out with her, but I know it would upset Melissa. There have been a few times when Melissa has joined me in the cafe and Natalia has sat with us. Honestly, Melissa is straight up rude to her. At first I think she tried to be nice but just got too upset. She either remains silent or responds with really short cold answers. It makes me really sad because I know Melissa is struggling with insecurities, but Natalia is a really good friend of mine who has only been nice to me. She has invited me and Melissa out numerous times, and each time Melissa declines. I once told her I was going to attend a comedy show with Natalia. It was a comedian I once took Natalia to see in college, and Melissa broke down, so I decided I would never go anywhere with Natalia unless Melissa was there too. Some of you might say, why don't you just stop talking to Natalia? Is she more important than your relationship with Melissa? I don't really know what to do. I see Natalia for 2 hours a week and we don't hang out or even talk outside of that. I have given Melissa no reason to think I am cheating or being unfaithful. Natalia has only ever been a good friend to me, and I shouldn't have to cut her out of my life when she already plays such a little role. It feels kind of unfair to me because honestly, sometimes I wish I could see Natalia more because he's a really wonderful, interesting person, but Melissa is definitely a priority in my life, so I have kept our friendship very casual and minimal. I think there is a bigger problem in that Melissa is not the same person I entered a relationship with. She's sad, always stressed, much more cranky and snappy with me. Her insecurities make her shy away and retreat into herself, so it feels like I can never reach her anymore. She has been denying me sex and complaining about how she isn't good enough for me, and it has honestly been pushing me away from her. I find that I no longer want to deal with her insecurities and constantly validating that I love her. I have suggested therapy before because I think the real problem is not Natalia but Melissa's underlying insecurities. This is not normal and it causes her so much unnecessary stress. Melissa always says, "Okay, I will think about it," and when I bring it up again she gets really defensive, asking me why I think something is wrong with her. I don't. I just think a professional would be able to help her work through her own thoughts better so that she can accept herself more, because clearly, what I am saying to her doesn't get through. It's hard to see her so unhappy. Edit, because someone asked, I should have clarified that I also told Melissa that Natalia and I slept with each other in college. I didn't hide that from her. I can see why that would upset her, but I really tried to stress how long ago it was and how I was happy with Melissa now, and the past does not affect anything about how I feel now. My GF Melissa has a borderline obsession with my old FWB Natalia. She won't stop comparing herself to Natalia, and it has been making her stressed, insecure, and depressed. No matter what I tell her, she claims she isn't good enough for me, and it has been making me feel less attracted to her. She refuses to go to therapy, and I feel like this is only going to take a bigger toll on her life. How can I help her? Alright, so I posted here a few weeks ago concerning my GF Melissa and my ex-FWB from college, Natalia. The gist of the story was that Melissa kept comparing herself to Natalia, who was a grad student in her field of biology, who she feels is basically the epitome of perfection. It got to the point where Melissa would spend hours staring at pics of Natalia, and every time I tried to be intimate with her she would shut me down, saying she wasn't good enough. I got a lot of SHT in the last post because Natalia and I ate lunch together a few times a week, but as a lot of commenters suggested, I eat at a different place now and no longer see Natalia. I think Natalia took the hint and we haven't spoken since I posted that. Anyway, I'm posting now because I feel Melissa's obsession with Natalia hasn't gotten better at all, and she did something that I'm not sure I consider forgivable. When I graduated from college, my mom made me a photo album of pics with me and all my friends doing whatever it is college students do. It means a lot to me, because I rarely see my old friends and unfortunately, one of them passed away, so these are physical representations of cherished memories. Yesterday afternoon, I received a Facebook message from my late friend Dan's mother. She asked me if I had any pics of Dan from our fraternity events. We were in the same professional fraternity. I said of course and that I would scan them and send them over to her. I looked through my album and was suddenly shocked to find a few pictures in which Natalia was cut out of the photo. Some were just of me and her, some were of a group of friends. After flipping a few more pages I saw one that broke my heart. It was a picture of Natalia, Dan, and a few other friends during one of our formals as we were all in the same fraternity. I kept searching through and found that this was the case for maybe 12 pictures, 3 including Dan. It felt like I had swallowed a pound of rocks and I honestly just felt so angry. I knew it had to be Melissa, as I would never have done this. I sent the uncut pics to Dan's mom and texted Melissa, asking her if she was still on campus so we could meet. When I saw her, I asked her why she cut my photos and she said, "What are you talking about?" But I could tell from her face, she knew she was caught. I was so furious. I told her that it was extremely disrespectful and that she had no right to destroy them the way she did. I even mentioned that some of the pictures she cut were taken with my friend who had passed away and now she had ruined them. She immediately started crying and apologizing, saying she didn't know what came over her. She said she still has the pictures of Natalia and that she can put them back together. I felt like I was going to explode, so I just excused myself and left. Melissa has been blowing up my phone, but I haven't read any of the messages or listened to the voicemails. I feel so drained. I got a lot of shit on my last post, so I bet a lot of you will think I had this coming. I know I can't convince you of how hard I've tried to make Melissa feel like she's the only girl I wanted to be with. No matter how many times she has asked me if she's pretty, if I find her sexy, if I think she is smart, I always tell her how amazing I find her, but it just isn't enough. Maybe I should have never ever spoken to Natalia when I found out she was attending the same university as me, but I don't think that gives my ex-GF, the right to destroy my property. The album has literally sat on my shelf for years. It's not like I look at it every day and fawn over my ex. I have never even shown it to Melissa, so she must have been snooping through my belongings, which honestly I wouldn't even care about if she hadn't destroyed the pictures of my dead friend because of her petty jealousy. I just feel exhausted. I feel like I'll never make Melissa happy. I could have done things differently, sure, but I feel like she never tried to work on her insecurities, and confidence in herself either. Now on to second story. Caught my unemployed sister and her boyfriend stealing the money I saved for my kids' Christmas gifts. Now they're hiding and my family is divided. I 34F single mother of 3 girls, 13, 8 and 2, let my sister 31F move in with me 2 months ago and she stole from me. I am shaking as I type this up. Let's call my sister Sarah. Sarah lost her job about 4 months, got kicked out of her apartment about 2 months ago, and didn't have anywhere to go. Being her big sister, I offered her a place to stay while she figured things out. Being a single mother with no one to turn to, sometimes I felt sorry for her, so I figured I could help her out in this rough patch. I even started helping with daycare fees for her son, who's 3, because I know how tough it can be to make ends meet. Things started out okay, but I started noticing small red flags. First, Sarah's boyfriend, who I'd only met 3 times, began coming over almost every day while I was at work. I didn't love it, but I thought they both needed support, so I let it slide. I did let Sarah know that I didn't want him coming to my house every day, and he stopped coming for a while. Then one day he just pops back up. It wasn't long before I noticed other strange things happening. At first I thought I was tripping. Like little stuff would be moved in my bedroom or my bathroom would have stuff missing. At first I thought it was my daughters, but the stuff that was touched or missing they either don't use or have their own. So without telling anyone I put a camera in my room. I saw Sarah going into my room when I was at work. I confronted her and told her, without letting her know about the camera in my room. I told her I knew she was going in my room and if she does it again she was out. She half-assed apologized and we moved on. Well, yesterday when I get home, I noticed my closet door slightly opened. I knew something was off because I never leave my closet door open. And, as I was looking through my closet, I noticed one of my handbags was missing. I had been saving up about $2,500 for Christmas gifts for my kids in the handbag. It wasn't in an obvious spot either. You would literally have to dig under about 7 other handbags to get to that one. My heart was in my ass because 1, my money is missing, and 2, that is the money for my kids' Christmas, and 3, my sister was nowhere to be found. I knew right then and there Sarah took it. I immediately called Sarah, but she wouldn't answer. I checked security cameras in my room and saw Sarah thieving ass in my room going through my closet. About 5 minutes later her boyfriend, let's call him Ryan, came in my room too. They had to have picked the lock because I made sure my room was locked before I went to work this morning. They spent 45 minutes in my room going through all my stuff trying to put it back like it was. I was devastated. I let her move in with my rent free and bill free, and is how she repays me? About 2 hours after I got home, Sarah and Ryan shows back up. I confronted her immediately. At first, She flat out lied and denied it, claiming I was mistaken or that I had misplaced the money. But I didn't back down. I told her I had the entire thing on camera, everything, including her and her boyfriend going through my things. She was caught red-handed. I told her she had until the end of the day to return the money, or I'd be pressing charges. She started freaking out, saying I was being unreasonable. I really wanted to put my hands on her, but I have too much to lose. She even tried to drag our dad and her mom into the situation, calling them to intervene on her behalf. But I wasn't having it. I told them both to stay out of it, that I was handling it my way, and they had no right to defend her when she was clearly in the wrong. And if they want to defend her, they can give me the $2,500 back. That shut them right on up. I also told that they didn't have the right to say anything to me about this because they were willing to tell her and their grandchild sleep outside because they're not ready to have a toddler around there right now. By 8 p.m., she still hadn't given me the money back, and I had no choice but to call the police. I filed a report and gave them the footage. By the time the police got there, Sarah and her Ryan had jumped in his car and left. They're both on the run now, and no one knows where they are. I'm sure she's trying to hide, but I have no idea if they'll even come back or if I'll get my money back. I'm still in shock. I've always tried to help her, and this is how she repays me. I can never trust her again, and right now, I don't even know if I want her in my life anymore. It's one thing to make mistakes, but to steal from family when I've been helping you? It feels like a betrayal on a whole new level. So here I am, dealing with the aftermath, and I'm wondering, should I have handled this differently? I really wanted to hurt her, and the only reason I didn't was because of my daughters. Even though they are not with me, I still don't want to miss up there in my future. I got a call from one of my cousins and she was telling me that she was on me side, but she also told me that my dad and his wife called her mom trying to talk junk about me and my auntie shut us down. She apparently told my dad that him and his wife created the Mr. My Sister is because they never said no and gave her any and everything she wanted. I love my aunt for sticking up for me. I'm just trying to process everything, and honestly, I'm struggling to figure out what comes next. Update 1. To the people saying it is my fault, you can go to hell. That just shows me that you will steal from anyone at any time if given the opportunity. So, for the update. Bear with me. I worked my overnight last night and barely got any rest today because of this situation. So when I got off work this morning, I really didn't feel like going upstairs to my room south. I laid on the couch. Around 10:30 I heard someone at my front door. When I opened the door, it was sister looking stupid. When I realized who it was, I punched her right in the face. She tried to run, but I grabbed her and pulled her inside of my house. She was alone. I asked her where was my nephew and she tells me that he is with her childhood best friend. I will call her Alex. I didn't believe her, so I made her call Alex so I could see, and he was. Thank God he is with Alex because Alex is an angel. I asked my sister where my money was and she said gone. I said I know that, but where did it go? This idiot looked me in my eyes and told me that she and Ryan spend the money DoorDash, going out to eat, and Mary Jane. I just stood there and looked at her. She didn't say anything, and I know she thought I was going to punch her again because every time I moved she would flinch. After what felt like hours of me staring at her, I called her a dumb bitch. I told her she needed to explain herself. What pisses me off is she wasn't even looking for the money. She was looking for my handgun. She told me that Ryan had convinced her to go to her old job and get revenge for firing her. I told her she was a dummy for going along with that play. I then asked her why did she get fired, because she told us her job had to lay off people due to the drop in business. It is a small business and a local family-owned grocery store. Well, come to find out, her and 4 other employees decided that they didn't want the 15% employee discount they were getting and the $19.50 they were getting paid. They wanted free merchandise and free money for the registers. My jaw hit the floor. Her old employer told her if she paid back the money she took, he would press charges. I asked her how much she took and it was about $690, but I think it was way more. Ryan didn't like the idea of her getting ripped off and came up with his plan. She knew I had a handgun. She didn't know that I take it with me everywhere I go because I have my concealed carry license. While she is taking to me, I'm recording the whole time. She then tells me the reason she got kicked out was because she told her landlord that if he didn't let Ryan stay with her and not be on the lease, she was going to get a bunch of people to bet him up. The landlord filed a police report and had her evicted 10 days after. But what really pissed me off is she told me the whole time she was on the run she never once checked up on her son. She said Ryan doesn't want him around, so that is why she took him to Alex. At that point I snapped. Everything from her stealing from me to her abandoning her son just came out. I have never yelled and cursed at no one like that before. I really let her have it. She started crying, but I couldn't care less. She tried to talk, but I told her to shut the fuck up because I was done with her shit. I told her she was a piss poor excuse for a human being and a mother. I told her that she should be ashamed of herself for what she did to me and how she is treating her son. I told her that I was going to help Alex get custody of her son because she didn't deserve him. She tried to talk, but I wasn't done. I also told her that she is going to jail and Ryan is too. She really started crying, but again I couldn't care less. I was yelling so loud I think the neighbors heard me and called the police, which I was going to do anyway. So, thank you to my neighbors. When I opened the door and seen it was the police, they asked me was everybody and everything okay because they could hear me from the street and my neighbors were concerned. I told them no and explained everything that was going on. Sarah was just sitting there like a deer in headlights and trying to play victim. She told the police that I gave her the money. I wanted to jump on her right then and there. I told the police that the previous officers had the footage of her and Ryan going through my stuff. One of the officers ran her in, and seen she had a warrant for her arrest and put her in handcuffs. They took Sarah outside and was searching her. The police pulled some money out her pocket and she told them to give it to me. This stupid bitch wanted them to give me $24.76. Yes, I counted it. I told them to keep it because she is going to need it. The police asked her how did she get there and Sarah said Ryan dropped her off. They asked her where was Ryan and she said around the corner waiting on her. When one of the officers went to check, the dummy was still there sleeping. So he went to jail also. I called my dad and told him what was going on, and to my surprise he must have had a change of heart. He told me after my aunt read him the riot act he took everything in and realized we were right. He told me that she is going to have to pay for what she did. I also told him about my nephew, but he knew that he was with Alex and glad he was with her. I told him about helping Alex get custody of my nephew and he told me to do what I had to do. The reason I want Alex to get custody is because she is great with my nephew. She loves him and he loves her. He also is happier when he is with Alex. Even when she would visit Sarah, my nephew wouldn't leave Alex's side. She also, if anything ever happened to my sister, she would take my nephew with no problems. Sarah's mom is pissed at me because I will not drop the charges, and I gave the police the recording of her telling me the plan she really had because it added more charges. I told her if she was good mother and raised Sarah right we would be going through this. She called me a bitch and hung up. I blocked her. She can deal with Sarah and pay for lawyers. I will make sure I'm at every court date for Sarah and Ryan if possible. I don't want neither one of them getting out anytime soon.